Ladies and gentlemen, sit back and relax for the next hour as the CW Reno brings you Old Tales of Nevada. It's an hour of rich Nevada history and current day success stories hosted by scholar, historian, and world-renowned gold and silver baron Hugh Marshall. Brought to you by the Silverland Inn and Suites and the Marshall Mint.
Hello everybody, welcome to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. Glad to have you with us today. We have a great story to tell. We're going to be discussing a novel written by a local author here, and it's all about women and how women really make a go of it when the going gets tough. So stay tuned, we'll be back right after this. Welcome back here to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. This is our 136th episode of the show, so we're so happy to have you with us today. And as usual, we have a group here on our set that we have a great conversation with every week, plus our special guest, and we'll tell you who that is in just a minute. But Neal Cobb is way over there on my left. You're right, I guess, as you look at the screen. And Neal, welcome to the show.
Yeah, good to see you again, John.
Yeah, good to have you with us. Neal, as you know, is our honorary curator from the Nevada Historical Society. Keeps us on track with historical accuracy and helps us to coordinate the show and bring great guests like we have today with us on Old Tales Nevada. So, Neal, how's the book sale going, by the way?
Hey, the book sales are going great. Yeah. We've got a couple of more. In fact, we've got 4 more book signings to
Coming up, right?
Oh, yeah. We got one for, well, we just completed it because this airs a little later.
Yeah.
But we're going to be over at the Historical Society and out at Barnes & Noble again.
Oh, great.
Good. Yeah.
Super.
So we're doing quite well.
All right. And the magazine's still rolling right along?
The magazine's
Nevada in the West?
By the time this airs, we'll have the new one out. So I didn't bring the old copy. We're pushing it by a week past.
All right.
You know? And I mean, it's on its way out, okay?
All right, thanks for being with us today. NevadaInTheWest.com is where you can find that.
Yes,
and,
thank
get
you,
a
John.
subscription and everything else. And of course, next to Neal is our benefactor, our great sponsor of our show, Hugh Marshall. And we're right here in his mansion again. Thank you for letting us come and sit in front of the state dining room.
Today, you betcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing this show for quite a while to spread the knowledge of the history of Nevada, that this is a great state, has a very important place in the United States, because after the Civil War, the United States was totally broken. As we remember that, we remember Abraham Lincoln and the Union Army that were all starving to death, and it was the Comstock silver that paid off the U.S. debt at that time and allowed us to also make up the first U.S. dollars in the Carson City Mint.
That's right. So we have a place in history
yeah, we got
to
a
be
very
proud of.
place, and that's what I do, is pour silver and gold out of rocks that contain silver and gold. And I do the whole stinking job myself, but eventually we'll have more people doing it.
Yeah, really. Well, because as we've talked about in past shows, you found a rather large amount of gold and silver in the Sutro, and so that's going to start coming out.
Yeah, we had the blue clay on there last week, and it's just full of precious and noble metals. And what we found is that all the country rocks surrounding these lodes, not only in Virginia City, but also out in Ione, Nevada, are carrying appreciable platinum content.
Great. Look forward to
out there,
getting
it's
that.
even more than here. We have an average of a little over half an ounce a ton in the country rock around the veining. So
that's pretty darn good.
Now we mine underground or whatever, it's much safer, as I've said before, because we don't have to just mine a narrow vein. We can just spread out wherever we want to, and the country rock is really hard.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
It stands up real well.
Now, up there in Virginia City at 96 North C Street, what do we have?
We got the Marshall Mint up there,
Mint.
where we mint 3.9 silver and 4.9 gold, and soon to be 3.9 platinum.
Right. So you can get samples of that in different forms.
We have a number of coin series, and we sell the little bars, and we also have a great line of older estate jewelry that we find from time to time, and we price it very well, and people sure buy a whole lot.
So you're right. Now, this time of year, there's some great gifts up there in the store, right?
Oh, yeah.
That people can find.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so you'll gift wrap it and do everything
We'll
for you.
take care of it for them and or ship it, and we love to get people up there for the holiday season.
Super. So 96 North C Street.
Yeah.
What's the phone number up there?
847-0777.
All right, and the website. What's the website?
The website's marshallmint.com.
All right, and then your other your
We
endeavor
have
up
the
there?
Silverland Inn and Suites Hotel up there. We have 68 rooms, and we'd love to have you bring your sweetie up there and stay for a weekend.
That's right.
And,
And the
nice
number up there?
indoor pool, 847-4484.
847-4484. So don't forget. Yeah, it's beautiful up there right now. This
Yeah,
time
it
of year
is.
with the snow.
What a
A lot of
view
people
it's
go to
got.
Tahoe.
They didn't get any more snow than what we got here. They
Yeah.
got a little bit less, so
Yeah.
it's not quite as dangerous as it is around here.
I was up there a couple of weeks ago when you had a snowstorm up there, though, and it was gorgeous because
Oh,
all
it
the
is.
trees were flocked.
The
and
trees
all
are
that.
flocked. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Well, let me get to the pretty part of our whole show here, okay?
Yeah, you betcha.
Brooke Santina, welcome to our show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
She's the one that has that book right there that you see in front of us. Dishrags to Dirtbags. That's a very interesting title. I'm looking forward to getting into that story. But glad to have you with us today.
Oh, I appreciate it.
You've been in Reno for a long time, if not forever,
Forever.
right? Are you a native? Really?
I was born at St. Mary's.
St. Mary's.
My dad was born in Reno.
No kidding.
That's how
wow.
far back we go.
So you're like second or third generation
Yeah,
of Renoites here. So that's fantastic.
Pioneer.
So you went to Reno High? Or?
Actually, I went to Minogue.
Oh, Minot.
Yeah.
Good little Catholic girl.
That's right.
That's right. Over in the old location next to...
Yes, off the valley.
Off the valley.
Yes.
Yeah. They sure have a beautiful
Yes.
place now behind the
It
post
is.
office on Virginia there. So anyway, you went through high school there. Did you go to college here too?
I did.
You did?
UNR.
UNR. Wow.
You betcha. My kids are there
Can't get
now.
any-
Well, one of them just graduated. The other one is still there.
Oh, you don't look old enough to have
Yeah,
children old
23,
enough to do that.
21.
Wow.
They're done. They're out.
They're done.
Fantastic. Oh, yeah.
So, what did you major in when you went to university?
I majored in speech communications.
Speech communication.
See
So
how
you
well
can
I
do
do
what
that
we
for
do.
you today.
That's right. You can do what we do, but probably a lot better.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So, but your real work is you started out probably as a mom, right?
Right. I was a mom, a stay-at-home mom, 11 years.
11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you finally decided you needed to go
Yep,
to work.
it was time. Kids grown. Let's
Yeah.
do something. I go to become a law enforcement officer.
Yeah, that's very unique. Right?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
That's-
it paid well. At the time, I didn't have a degree,
Uh-huh.
and that's huge. You have to, have a skill or something. And when
Yeah.
you stayed at home 11 years,
yeah.
what are you gonna do? Bake
Well-
a cake, cupcakes. I was
That's a
really good
very
at that.
noble profession.
It
as-
is.
as
I
you
mean,
know.
it is,
We
and I
need
would
it.
never
We need it,
belittle
yeah.
anyone who
Yeah.
loved it. It was time. Though.
If you can bring your kids up in a balanced, normal way in the
Yes.
days that we live in today,
Yeah.
you've done something very, very good. So
That's
I'm
very
always
true.
appreciative of moms.
Something
Right.
wholesome has
Stay
still
home
got to
and
be
work on
there.
that every day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is also a noble profession to be a peace officer in
Right.
in the area.
Definitely.
Boy, you meet all kinds of folks, don't you?
Oh. Yes.
Yeah. Both
All
good and bad.
kinds, and that's why I thought after becoming a law enforcement officer, when you think about the process, I thought I gotta write about this.
Yeah, really.
This
I
is
would
nutty.
I would
This is
imagine so.
crazy.
Yeah, being a fireman and being a woman or being a peace officer, I would imagine is so physically challenging just to
Yeah.
qualify for the job.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. You have to be able to run so fast, jump so high.
Yeah.
There's a, just you have to be able to. Your grip is important. I
Yeah.
mean, little things that you wouldn't think about.
Yeah.
You have to do the test, and
You have to be
as
smart
a-
too.
Well, yeah, you have to take a written test,
Yeah.
exactly, and come out so high on that.
And I would imagine women always score higher than the men do.
I don't know. I couldn't say that.
They don't give you the
I
scores.
don't know.
I was always in high school. I always got outscored by the women, which wasn't too hard to do.
But I don't know if that's a good question.
Yeah.
I have to find out.
Yeah, I would always imagine that the ladies are always a little better at the book side of
Sometimes.
the test. But the physical side has got to be so challenging. Now, do they make adjustments for ladies versus men as
We
far
all
as the
do the same
qualification?
thing.
You have to do the same
It
thing.
used to be that way, I guess, years ago. But
Yeah.
here in Nevada, for Nevada Post,
Yeah.
we all do the same thing.
No special treatment.
No.
Nope. Fantastic.
No, and they've changed things. We no longer have to go over walls.
Oh.
And there are things that were very difficult for the females.
Yeah.
But now it's
Oh, so maybe they
generalized.
made it a little bit easier physically.
I
How many
guess.
walls do you have to jump in a
I
day?
never
anyway?
had to do that.
Or how many guys do you have to chase down?
Well, there's quite a few of those.
Is that right? They run
But-
for it, huh?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
that'd
But
be great. I would never run for it because they
if you're
might shoot me.
quick, if you're fast. I know
Now
a
they have
couple
these
of ladies that
helicopters
have
and
caught some of the guys.
Yeah?
We have some very quick women
Yeah.
on
Wow.
patrol.
Well, yeah, I would imagine so. But women in law enforcement is not typically. It's not really a new idea.
Right.
I mean, there's.
Right. No. In fact, I did a little research on this lately,
Uh-huh.
and in 1908, Portland, Oregon, hired the first woman law enforcement officer.
1908.
Lola Green Baldwin.
Wow.
And she asked for, she pretty much, she was 48 to start with, which I thought was remarkable.
Yeah, that's pretty
48 years
advanced,
old, starting
really.
a career that nobody else has done.
Right.
Like you. And
Yeah.
then she ended up asking for half of what the dog pound got for a budget. And she was, her main role was to keep the young ladies out of prostitution.
Oh, no kidding.
So, and that seemed to be primarily the women, early days, the women did juvenile crime and they handled the women's
Yeah, well, they
issues.
seemed like that would be a nice fit,
Yeah.
actually, you know.
So,
I would imagine up on the Comstock you write, there were women in, were there women in law enforcement up there? The women on the Comstock were strong individuals. They had to be, right?
Well, you know, they had constables in those days and whatnot in most of the towns, like San Francisco, Virginia City.
Yeah.
And they a little different kind of a pecking order than what we had today. But women are really used very highly in VIP security work for the Secret Service, and I've been involved with a number of them taking care of our foreign dignitaries.
And they're probably very good.
They're
at what
very
they do.
sharp. I collect silenced submachine guns as a collection, and
Yeah.
we've always had a lot of fun with those at
Yeah.
the ranch to go out there.
And Neal, you know of many women that have been in the history of Nevada. We've had
Oh,
had
they've
them on the show. We've talked
contributed
about
all
them
the
on the
time.
show.
You can start off with probably the most famous one was Sarah Winnemucca.
Sure.
I
Right.
mean, here she is, her statue as a Native American,
Right.
and the only female that I know of that's in Statuary Hall in Washington D.C.
Washington,
And
right.
of course,
Very
it was
true.
the Women's History Group
Right.
that made that all possible. People like Terry
Yes.
Townley Porter out there, boy. When she's after something, she got it.
Yeah.
And there's been women throughout the ages. I was instrumental with Dave Holliker, and we getting the WCTU fountain restored. It sits at track level at the Amtrak station. And you've got all kinds of folks. Helen Stewart down there in
Yeah.
Las Vegas. We had a lady mayor here in the 50s now. Really, I think at Pat Baker Park.
Oh, Pat Baker Park. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all familiar with that.
Yeah.
Sure. And
So-
she was the mayor.
Oh, and she was tough. She drove around in her beat up old Plymouth. But
Oh.
boy, she ruled with an iron hand, and she didn't take any garbage from anybody.
Yeah, fantastic.
That women seem to be equipped with
And didn't we
a
have the
stronger
first,
backbone than a lot of people.
Didn't we have the first woman congressman?
Barbara
Yeah.
Kanovich.
Bill
yeah.
Kanovich,
Well, Patty Caffaretta was the
Right.
state
Yeah.
treasurer, and
Yeah.
we've just we're loaded with them.
Yeah.
Nevada is not behind in that.
No.
I think we have a lot
Well-
of women in
Well-
very important roles.
Yeah. In fact, before the 19th Amendment came in, we were 6 years ahead of that,
That's
giving
right. The
women
suffrage.
the right
Right.
to vote.
Women's suffrage and
Yeah.
were they and then prohibition? I mean, we had our
Well,
delegation that was mainly
somebody
mainly
had to
women.
make the sweet illegal stuff.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's right. Well, listen, we're going to come back and really get into your story here, your novel on Dishrags to Dirtbags, and find out why you did it. And
I love that title.
What's in the story. So again, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Old Tales Nevada Past and Present right after this. We're back here in Old Tales of Nevada, Past and Present. We're talking with Brooke Santina and the rest of the gang over here in Old Tales of Nevada, Past and Present for our 136th episode, which is, I think, a great
It's a good number.
mark.
We're marching right along.
But we're talking about women in Nevada and how important they were to the development of Nevada with not only our families, but with the development of cities and even with law enforcement, as you're involved with. So we appreciate you being here, Brooke.
Yeah,
Oh,
But we're not here
Happy to
just
be
to
here.
talk about your law enforcement career, which you've now done, what, 12 years?
12 years.
12 years. And you're up there at the jail, I
I
understand?
am. I work, yeah.
Do you run it?
No. One little housing unit of it.
All right, very
Yeah.
good. So that must be a very interesting job, huh?
Well, that's the idea behind the book.
Yeah.
I see so many things that normal people, so to speak, would
Yeah.
not see.
Yeah.
That I just thought, oh my gosh. And I would tell people about my day and just the most mundane little trivial thing, they'd be, oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, really.
So I thought,
you see it every day, so.
I have to write these things down.
Well, but it's more than, your book is more than just about the everyday happenings at the jail.
Right.
It's about a woman who has to take bull by the horns.
Well, I really wanted it
move
to
forward.
Yes, I wanted a lot of things to come out in this. I wanted it to be one of those stories where you go with her. Harry Potter, the very first one, I was fascinated because he didn't know who he was until the end. And you found out with him. And that's what I wanted in here.
Yeah.
I wanted Beth to be very shy, very meek, and never have ever stepped out into the world the way she's going to.
And there's a lot of women like that.
There's a ton. And I think so many times, not just women, but people don't realize their potential.
Right.
And until they are forced just a little bit.
Yeah.
And when they take that leap, boy, there's no stopping them.
Yeah, you have to take a risk in life. We had an entrepreneur, Kimmy Candy, who became a very, very, important entrepreneur here in Reno. And he said, if you're not willing to take a risk, you really haven't. You're not living.
No. And that's what I wanted that in there. I wanted people to see her change. Some ways she changes for the better, most of it, but a lot of ways there's some things that she changes for worse. I mean, she has to learn to cuss because she never did that. I'll tell you, because often when you're dealing with a gangbanger, street smart individual, and you say, sir, have a seat, they're not going to do it.
They don't listen to that.
But when you say, sir, blankety blank, have a seat, they do it.
Yeah, so I guess it depends what profession you're in.
It's amazing. It's like a magic word.
Yeah, I used to cuss when I was in the Air Force, and then when I got out, I made a conscious decision not to do that anymore.
Yes.
But it works for what I do.
Yes, yes. And there are times that it's a useful skill.
But for what you do, they probably don't understand anything else but that.
You have to talk in their vernacular. They're not going to get it.
Exactly.
And that was a learning experience that I had, and I worked through Beth in the book to have a similar experience.
Yeah. Well, tell us how it all started with Beth in the book. She was a married.
She was married right out of high school. She wanted children. It took them a long time to have kids. They were military, so they traveled around. She's so shy that they're stationed in Germany. She never leaves the base. I mean, never. I mean, I just think,
that's shy.
I mean, I've never been that shy. So, but she is. It's all about church. It's all about volunteering at the school. They finally have twin boys, and the boys are about 7 years old. The husband goes away to he goes to war. He goes to the Iraq War. And when he comes back a year later, he's suffering from post-traumatic stress. He gambles all their money away. He starts drinking. Well, she doesn't know this until she's at the store trying to buy some groceries.
Sounds like a country song to me.
Kind of. Well, and then so all of a sudden, her world has changed. It's not the same marriage. It's not the same life.
Oh, I imagine not.
So she has to come up with something pretty quick to make some money. And now, granted, it's not a quick job. It takes about 6 months to get hired, usually in law enforcement. But she needed to do something that she could actually make enough money to support the family.
Yes, and have benefits and all those kind of things. And you always get that when you're in that kind of business,
Exactly.
right? Yeah. Now, when you do a story like this, you talk about post-traumatic stress syndromes and things that people face. When you write something like Neal's book, it's pretty factual, but a lot of research has to go into that. Now, do you have that same concern when you're writing a novel? Because a novel is basically something you pick up out of thin air. But do you have to do a lot of research on that?
I really wanted accuracy.
Yeah.
Partly because when I go through the academy parts and the training in the jail parts, it's pretty realistic.
Yeah.
It's what we see in the jail. And I wanted the entire book to have that same credibility. So I did quite a bit of research on post-traumatic stress to have the accurate symptoms that he shows. That I didn't know because I didn't know anybody that was really suffering from that. But also, she goes to Al-Anon at one point, and I wanted to know, how do they go to Al-Anon? What do they do? How do they?
So you had to walk her.
So I researched it, and I talked to some people that had actually been to different meetings and what they espouse in a meeting. How is it run? So I did. Some of it I knew, obviously, just from going through the academy. Other things I had to really think about and research.
I would imagine.
It's a lot of fun, though, to learn about these things.
Yeah,
it's
if you have a curiosity about life, I think all those kind of things are definitely
love it.
important to learn about, you just deal with people better in real life, much, so.
Right. And two, I wanted her to be growing. I did some research on similar books. I found one where the complaints were that the character never grew. Nothing changed. She went into this, it wasn't a law enforcement, she actually went to prison. But she went in as a rich white woman and came out a rich white woman, and nothing ever changed in this critique of this particular book. And I thought, well, I don't want that. And I wanted a lot of change, and I wanted you to feel it with her. And you're in her head. So I wrote it first person. You are in her head, thinking as she thinks as she goes through the day. And then I also read a book about law enforcement, and they said that the critique was, it was so depressing. And there was no hope for this. It was a woman in New York who wrote about her career, and it was horrible.
Terrible, huh? Yeah. It
Understood.
could be negative like that, yeah.
But in this one, I did not want that. I wanted there to be some hope. I wrote the book. I dedicate it to anyone who doubts their potential or their ability to achieve it.
Yeah.
This book's for them.
I love a message like
That'd
that.
be a great book for a lot of young women.
For everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised how many guys are reading it.
That's what I was going to say.
I'm really surprised. I get a lot of men reading it, and they're loving it.
Yeah, because the message is universal. It's about growth as an individual.
And it's about hope and about, because at the end, and I'm not going to give you what happens, but obviously she becomes a law enforcement officer and works in a jail. And she's a mother figure. So she becomes inspirational to these women. And that is, for me, the ultimate message.
Yeah, yeah. And Neal?
John, I've got a favorite book, and it's written by Sarah Oles from the Oles Ranch, and it's titled 20 Miles from a Match, and it's the homesteading process and making things go and being able to spread out and educate the kids and keep the husband alive and keep everything rolling. And it was through her, like your book, like you're trying to accomplish there. And anybody and everybody that can read this thing puts themselves into her shoes.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
This gal she was a visionary. She was inventive. She was tough.
Yeah.
And she was everything. But that could be any one of us.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, whenever we can go two ways when we have crisis in life, right? We can crawl up and roll into a corner and hope somebody rescues us, or we can show a little courage and boldness and jump out there and try something try to solve it. You know, we don't have to be reliant on other people all the time.
Exactly. And I have her really on her own in this. I had some support from family and friends. I have her trying this, the husband, no, I'm going to make it back, and that's what people say when they've gambled. I'm going to get lucky, I'm going to make it back. Trust me. Well, she knows she can't, and of course, her friends are at church, and they laugh at the idea. So she's really on her own. Yeah. She has a father that I love, the dad character, and she has a great relationship with him. And sometimes when she needs something, she'll call him, and he'll just have that little moment of exactly what she needs. And it just sometimes you
got to look for that too.
A little bit of encouragement is all it takes to give you that.
You got to keep your ears open, I think.
Yeah.
You do. In real life too, you got to keep your ears open for that little nugget of counsel, of a suggestion, idea that can take you from point A to point B. Right? You probably ran into that yourself, right? You, Roy?
Yeah, there's an old saying, per aspera ad astra, through adversity to the stars, and I'm a firm believer of that. Adversity creates a tension, a resistance that people will go against and then succeed. And our government is a great example of that, because they do that to all of us.
I know. But I would imagine being a gold miner up there in the Comstock, you've had a lot of naysayers over the years, right? And yet you have to keep moving forward because you have an idea,
They said there can't be any platinum up here. You don't have the right type of rocks.
Oh, I heard that story.
They really thought I was nuts.
Proved them wrong, didn't you? Yeah,
I did.
And even with your hotel up there,
Oh yeah.
Give you doing something for 20 years.
But Roy built this hotel up there, and he calls it his charity, but he's gonna keep plugging away until that thing's successful.
Well, they've got it going pretty good now. That's been absolutely sold out a bunch of times.
The business is improving about 20% a year.
No kidding.
Nice.
That's good. That's the way
that's a big double digit.
That's nice.
But only because you're not a shrinking violet, you know, like your gal
Exactly.
in the book. I mean,
Well, Brooke, now this book was something of a reflection of yourself, but probably a reflection of many people that you've known. Huh?
Absolutely. I really didn't want it to be my story.
Your autobiography.
At the same time, it's hard to separate sometimes. So but I was never shy in my life.
you were never shy.
Well,
I've
it has
never
to
been
be.
shy.
You can furnish that authentic part.
Exactly.
I mean, you have walked
But
the walk.
I don't have twin boys, and but I do have, like, for example, at the day I got the job, I happened to be Christmas shopping. And I was driving around, and I went to Krispy Kreme, if you remember when we had one.
Krispy Kreme.
And you know when you drove up and they would hand you that warm one that the glaze hadn't even quite got hard yet, and you take a bite and that whole gooey sweetness just covered your mouth?
Yeah.
That's where I was when the phone rang. And I grabbed the phone out of my purse. Hello, and they offered me the job, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm already there. I'm eating a donut right now. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have the personality of a peace officer, because they don't go buy a donut shop without buying one, right?
Well,
It was a
weren't you
miracle.
having a book signing at a donut
I want
shop?
to. I haven't yet.
Yeah,
That's a goal of
You've
mine.
got it. You were getting.
That'd be
Yeah.
fun.
I want to do like one of those donut shops.
All right, let's take a break here. We'll come back with more stories about Dishrags to Dirtbags, a great book done by Brooke Santina here on Old Tales of Nevada, Past and Present. Back here on Old Tales of Nevada, Past and Present, talking with Brooke Santina, the author of the book you see in front of me here, Dishrags to Dirtbags.
Dishrags to Dirtbags.
I knew I was going to screw that up at
That's
least
perfect.
once today.
Yeah.
So, anyway, glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Brooke. Yeah, taking time out from your peace officer duties today. Used to be a PIO officer, huh? Public Information Officer.
I did that
Worked with
for
my
Sheriff
good friend Tammy Cummings
Yes,
up there.
one of my best
We used to
friends,
work
yes.
together at Channel 8.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah, we had a good time together. That was the best team in the 90s over at Channel 8 before it was sold to another corporation and they changed everything.
Oh.
Yeah, and Tammy and I went out the door the same day.
Yeah. And look at you now.
But we're back on our feet, Just keep moving forward. And then we have Roy Marshall, our great benefactor and sponsor of the show, and then Neal Cobb, our honorary curator from the Nevada Historical Society, and also the author of a great book right now out for sale, Reno Now and Then. Number 2. Dos.
And this is Dos.
Dos.
Yes.
Dos.
Yes. Now it's number 2. The first one is sold out, and we've had requests that, hey, you guys got to reprint that one because we need them as a
Yeah, I
set.
heard that already the other day.
So I'm not sure that reaching in your pocket every other day for my wife's inheritance.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine, Katie Lancaster, a friend of ours, saw the show. She has volume. She wanted to get volume 2, but she wants to get volume 1, so she has a complete set. So there you go.
So we might. That stand's pushing me pretty hard.
What I wanted to ask you, Brooke, was this thing didn't happen overnight, right?
It took about 3 years, 3.5 years.
Yeah, and how
from
do you
start to
compare the
finish.
process of building a book to other endeavors of life?
Well, I wrote a blog about it, publishing being like giving birth.
Yeah.
And it is the same feeling. I have 2 children. Granted, they are in their 20s, so I mean, it's been a while, but it's that pride. You're going to love it when it comes out. And then the idea of you get a proof, and it's kind of like your ultrasound is when you see the ebook and you're looking through everything. And then you finally give birth. It comes to your house in this little box, and you open it up, and you look just like you look at fingers and toes and make sure all the baby's parts are there. I'm looking at margins to make sure they all line up. Where's my acknowledgement page? Okay, how's the picture look? What are the covers? I mean, you do the same thing.
Yeah. Now, who published it for you?
Lucky Bat Books. It's a
okay.
Reno-based.
Oh, good.
Cindy Geddes owns Lucky Bat.
Oh, okay.
Jason
So,
Geddes'
great.
wife.
Yeah. So you actually, it wasn't a self-publishing job.
No,
It was somebody actually bought the book.
I needed that validation.
Yeah.
I am not confident enough in my writing the first time out of the, I needed somebody to say, yeah, it's good, we want it.
Yeah.
So
now let me ask you this. Now, when you first start writing the book,
Yes.
okay, Are you an English major, or were
No.
you good at that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't bad, but I gotta say, lots of mistakes.
Yeah. Well, do you have to worry about that?
No,
When you
not
start
at
writing a
all.
book, like if you wanted to start writing his memoirs, have you ever done that? By the way,
Oh yeah.
you have. You have your own book.
Well, I'm still working on it. It's
Still
called
working?
called A New House of Gold.
Oh, okay, very good. When's that going to be out?
Probably when I want to. Not in any big hurry.
But you know, we all have ideas, and something that can be intimidating. At least some think it's intimidating. And here's where risk is involved: is well, I'm not that great at grammar.
There's editors for that, and
there's editors, but they don't catch everything
No, they
either.
don't.
And if you get past
They're
them and
only
they
human.
caught it, the printers somehow or another, or somebody's computer against the
Yeah.
other one, doesn't quite line up. And what I've compared this to is when you get your book, and we've got an error in ours. It's the Virginia Street Bridge, and drop the damn E off the header. Yeah, there's no E on there. So how do you do that? But it's like having a perfect wedding. You know it's never going to last.
Yes.
You know you got to have something go wrong. That's tradition. It's a go.
Yeah.
So we're in.
You're
We
in.
have an error.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I guess the main thing is then to have a concept,
Yes.
have a story you want to tell, and just start.
You just start writing.
Writing it?
I just went online and found some sort of a template.
Yeah.
Just start typing, double spaced, whatever they said to type it in, I did. And then when I gave it to Lucky Bat, I emailed it to her, and she said, "We like it, we want it. It's a Lucky Bat book, but we want you to work with an editor." And the editor she hooked me up with is a porno writer out of LA. And I said, "Excuse me, excuse me." She goes, "No, she's fantastic. She writes erotica. She lives in Los Angeles. Her name is Dale Dramatis." I said, "Okay."
Why did she want to pair you up with
I
that? Because of
think-
the genre of.
I think because she writes gritty stuff, and it's a gritty. There's a lot of gritty stuff in this book.
There is.
So I thought, I was excited. Hey, great! I have an editor. I have an editor.
Yeah,
Woo!
yeah. So the publisher will pretty much take that.
They will,
part.
and I got to tell you, I had to rewrite 3/4 of the book
You did?
because it sounded too much like a police report. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she read it, and she didn't think I could do it. And she told Cindy, I don't know about this project. But in the end, Cindy said, "No, you don't know her. She can do it." And it took me 6 months, but when it was done, it was a better book.
So they give you suggestions, and then they send it back to you, and then you have to tweak it.
She
if
gave
you
me
can.
6 pages of suggestions.
Oh wow.
I went down the line. I did everything she suggested. Plus, I added some things. I added some things that I just thought were interesting. I added some things that I remembered feelings that I had or experience that I had that I could make Beth have. And then I
So
sent it
more
back
detail.
to her.
You had to get more detail into it, because so when your first draft comes out, you're hitting. It's just like, I guess, when you go to a movie and you see it one time.
Yes.
You catch certain things, and then the second time you see it, you catch more things, and so on. Plus,
And rewriting it is not fun, but when you just write the facts all the time, and that's what we do in law enforcement. It's just the facts, not what you feel, not what you
yeah,
think.
what was that show on
So
TV?
Dragnet.
What the facts?
Yeah,
What the facts?
just the facts.
Dragnet.
And that's it. So you really have to think about, how did that smell? How did that feel? How do I want them? How am I going to get somebody to understand the actual feeling of driving your car up to the police academy when you're 40 years old and you're in a station wagon? Okay, I was in a station wagon. She's in a minivan. It's even worse. And you don't belong when you see motorcycles and sports cars and trucks, and you pull up in a minivan or a station wagon
Go
and
to
park.
work. Oh my
And
God.
you're going in there with 20-something males.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you are all closer to their mother's age than theirs, and they don't want their mother on the force.
No.
So it's not going to be
Is
easy.
there that resentment between?
There was some.
There was some,
There's some.
yeah.
You're going to have it. It's
Yeah.
part of.
Yeah.
It's life. It's our culture. It's still going to be there to
Yeah.
some extent.
But your performance, quells that
Hopefully.
prejudice, I suppose.
Yeah, and it just, and then there's a whole lot of people. It's much less than some of the ladies that we talked about before, like Alice Stebbin Wells, who was in 1910 had to hand sew her own dress,
Yeah.
which was floor length, by the way,
And it had to be a dress, right?
and
Yeah.
a jacket. Yeah, she had
Yeah.
to hand stitch her whole uniform. I mean, there's nothing like what some women went through. So now I feel like I feel almost embarrassed to complain.
Yeah. So you have to wear the
Yeah.
same uniforms that all the guys wear.
Oh yeah, we do.
They don't cut them. They don't cut them.
They try, but they're not comfortable. We always wear the men's stuff anyway.
Do you really?
You
Yeah.
mentioned one other thing, that these ladies that really broke the ice were not armed either.
Right. They gave them things like they didn't have guns, they didn't wear gun belts, they didn't have the same uniforms, they did have badges, but they had what they said was radio boxes, and it sounds like it was something that they'd have to put in a wagon and drag along behind them. I have no idea what they did with these things. Did they sit on their desk?
And why did they have them?
Well, probably to
communicate, I
for
guess.
regular officers.
I
Yeah.
have no idea how they worked.
Yeah.
We have little, tiny handheld, everything's
You know,
so
they-
Everything's
different now.
electronic now.
They had-
I don't know how they did it.
Yeah, they had weird communications around here. If you look at some of the old shots on Reno, you'll see where they had the suspended light system, and that was a call-in boxes and the rest of it. And that was for
call-in
police
boxes,
and
yeah.
fire both.
Yeah, I remember seeing those
before
all
they
over
got
the place, yeah.
radios in their cars and so on.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
So how
they had
long-
to pull over and open up the box, and it was a telephone that went to the
Yeah,
headquarters.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what did that? How long a process was it to actually put it all together?
It was, I think, 3 to 3.5 years.
3 years.
From start to finish.
Yeah.
When I realized one day I have some time.
Mm-hmm.
I was no longer the PIO. PIO took a lot of time. You're always on call.
Yeah.
Well, when I was no longer doing that and I was back working in the jail, I had some time on my hands and I thought, it's time. I'm going to write about an escape. And we
Yeah.
had an escape 10, 12 years ago.
Oh.
So I wrote what I remembered about that. And then I wrote what I remembered about something else. And then I wrote the Krispy Kreme story because I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, that is a good
And
story.
pretty soon I had a bunch of stories. And I wrote about, just different characters that came through the jail. And none of the characters in there are really people that you would know. I have taken traits of human beings and blended them together.
Yeah.
Or things that I've seen inmates do and blended 3 or 4 inmates together to make one.
Yeah. So now you have this one produced and it's out, and has it been a successful launch
So
for you?
far, I had a great launch.
Oh, you
We
did?
had 60 books go out that day.
Oh, really? Yeah. Now,
It
where
was
is this? Or how long has it been out? Is what I was
3 months.
3 months. So
In
not that
print,
long.
it's been
Yeah.
about 5 months in
Yeah.
ebook.
Yeah, good. I just had a friend of mine I was telling you about off air, which you had a partnership with on a book signing, Altered Eye.
Yes.
And it took her 6 years to get that book out.
Yes.
So you did pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad. For a first time, you just have to keep plugging. We
Yeah.
do it every Friday. My sister-in-law actually writes. And so every Friday is our writing day, and we sit down, and it's just this
Fantastic.
all day.
All right, well, let's take a break here and come back for our last segment on the show. It goes by fast. So back with Old Tales in Nevada right after we hear from a couple of our sponsors like the Silverland and the Marshall Mint. Welcome back to our last segment here on Old Tales in Nevada, past and present. And as usual, another great show so far, talking to Brooke Santina this time, an author of a great book called Dishrags to Dirtbags, about a lady who went to work for the jail and went from a very shy person to a person who handled many challenges successfully, and a story of empowerment and take the risk.
And that's it.
Yeah, move forward. And just like you did, just like you, Roy does, Neal does. and
Sounds like there's a lot of
hopefully
things
I do
that,
too once in a while.
Yeah, people can empathize with your book.
I
Yeah.
think so. I
Yeah,
went
a lot of people
a
can
lot of different
empathize.
directions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now my question is,
Silly.
okay, you got this little baby out here, just like you said. It's like 3 years
My
of
baby.
3 years of pregnancy.
Yeah.
And some people might say, oh man, that was too much of a pregnancy.
Right. And I thought about it, but no. I want to do another one because I know I have 2 in me with
Yeah.
this character.
That's super.
And the thought is, this book is primarily her growth and change within, as well as her it's a lot about the job, and it's peppered with home life.
Yeah.
The next one is the reverse. It's more about her home life and changes that are going on outside of her that she's got to learn to deal with in a different way.
Yeah.
And then it's peppered with stories of the jail.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a great book for young people, for men and women both, because we have an environment here in Nevada, and I think we talk about this a lot, about the entrepreneurial opportunities here in Nevada. If you're willing to take the risk and grow, that you can do almost anything you want in Nevada. So much easier than you can if you cross the line 12 miles from here and go into California because of all the regs and competition and this, that, and the other thing. Now, it's kind of like virgin territory. If you have an idea, you can do it if you're willing to do it.
Right.
And not be afraid of the challenges that you might have to face. So I think it's a great tutorage of how to handle life.
That's exactly what I was hoping it would be for people.
Yeah.
And if she can do it, anybody can do it.
If she can do it, anybody can do it.
Exactly.
That's a great philosophy. I love that kind of philosophy, actually. And we all didn't get there. None of us are born to be that kind of an individual.
Right.
We have to work at being a strong person. Right? You right?
Oh, yeah.
We all come from different circumstances, but I think we all have the same mindset, don't we?
Were any of these names of the characters names that you knew, or did you just
The
come
name-
up with
I
Beth?
just-
Was that a
Beth, I just
relative
thought
of yours,
sounded
or-
so sweet.
so
Yeah.
soft?
Like such a
Yeah,
sweet,
it
and I
does,
had a
yeah.
baby doll as a kid that I named Beth. It was her favorite name way
okay.
back when. So it just sounds like such a sweet, shy little person. And then,
Good name for the character.
so I just
Yeah.
liked her name, and I just thought
Probably her
that.
name was Elizabeth.
Exactly.
So she could have been a Liz, or she could have been a
Elizabeth,
Beth.
And then Dolinsky, and I chose Dolinsky because Deputy Dolinsky sounded cool. And I wanted it to be a different, I don't know, I picked a Russian name. I don't know anybody who's Russian. I was trying to make it not seem like me. And, I'm Italian, so it's not going to work.
You're really Italian.
Ah,
You're
Santina.
really Italian.
I know, the hands are going.
Italian women, they're the most powerful. I think. You go
So-
to an Italian household, the man might be doing a lot of the
Oh.
talking, but you got that
Mama's
strong
not
woman.
happy, nobody's happy.
The authority is coming from the kitchen in all
Exactly.
Italian houses.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So you have book signings coming up, right?
I do. I have one coming up the Friday the 13th,
Mm-hmm.
December 13th at Luva Bella Wine Gallery at the
where's that?
Summit. At the
Nice.
Summit.
Okay.
And it's 6 to 8 at night. That's
Okay.
going to be fun.
Nice
I'm
time.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, is that like a weekend or something?
Yes, it's a Friday
Yeah.
night. It's Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I went to
Should
a
be a
book
good
signing
time.
the other day for that
Yeah.
Altered Eye, and they had free wine and cheese and.
That's what we're doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
what we're doing.
okay. Loosen them up. They might
Yeah,
buy
it should be
by-
fun.
buying by the dozen now. Where
So-
else are you going to be?
Well, I'll be there for sure. I'm doing Rotary clubs, Lions clubs, different
Oh, wow.
speaking engagements. So if anybody out there has a speaking engagement or needs somebody, I'm up.
You're
I'm
up for it, huh?
Yeah, it's really fun to do.
Yeah.
I love talking to the service
I can
organizations.
tell. I can tell.
Really
You're a very
fun.
outgoing personality. Makes our job easier as interviewers,
Most
doesn't it?
definitely.
to do those things. So you're working on a new book.
I am.
And
In
that,
January, I'm going to hit it hard. So I'm just doing a few more signings in December.
so we're
and
looking
then
like 3 years out again, or what?
No. I'm thinking I would like to have the manuscript done in 6 months.
Uh-huh.
And really, this one took a lot of rewrites. This next one's going to be a piece
Yeah,
of cake.
because you know the
I think.
ropes now.
Yeah, and
know how to-
Dale
It's a-
Dermatis will be my editor again, I'm sure, because she knows she had to read this one 3 different times because I changed so many things.
It's a
You
learning
know-
experience.
Isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I can tune right with
I
that.
think now that I don't have to worry about spelling or pronunciation or punctuation, I can actually sit down and maybe write a story and not
Exactly.
be intimidated by it.
Somebody will fix it for
You
you.
know, might be an author in
And
there somewhere.
That's
You know?
exactly
Why
it.
not
That's
try?
your
Yeah.
potential, and you never know it if you don't give it a shot.
That's right. Where would I start? Once
Where would
upon
I
a
start?
time.
Let's see.
In a little town in New Jersey.
There you go.
Yeah. I'd say Bethlehem, but no.
Yeah.
We were waiting for New Jersey to be spoken out loud again.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do that on this program.
New Jersey every
Well,
time.
we have to mention
Well,
New Jersey.
yeah.
That's where I'm from.
Oh, that's where my mother was from. so
Talk
that's a
about
good
challenges
choice.
in
I
law
like it.
enforcement.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah. But back when I lived there, when I was a kid, the cops used to walk the beat. They didn't
Right.
drive around. They used to actually walk down.
That's
the
it.
beat, You know.
And they still do in New
And they always
York.
stopped
They
at
still
my
do
house.
a lot of places.
They always
actually.
stopped at my house.
Yeah.
All the time. We had 6 kids in the house, and 4 were boys.
Somebody did
So,
something.
yeah. Well, we weren't really bad. We were just a little mischievous. Mischievous is what we were. But it was all in good fun, you know.
Yeah.
So you're going to continue in your law enforcement career?
You know, if somehow I magically became an author full time, if I could live
Wouldn't
on
that be
it, I would absolutely. It is so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun for me.
Well, you mentioned Harry Potter
Yeah.
earlier, and what was she doing? She was a
I think she was a waitress or
a
something.
waitress
I'm
or
not
something
sure.
with an idea.
Yeah, but then it's a long shot, but you have to try.
You never
I've
know
got
until you
nothing but
try.
time, right?
She sat in a coffee shop half the time
Right.
creating
We
it.
do that. We sit in the coffee shop and we
Coffee's good.
We've been doing
Donuts
this
are good.
136
Donuts are
episodes. We're still waiting to get discovered, but there's always that chance, you know.
Yeah.
There could be somebody
And
in
they-
Hollywood.
You never know. You just never know.
Yeah.
But I do have a website that will let anybody know if anyone wants to learn more about where I'll be or anything like that. Dishrags to dirtbags.com
All right.
or brooksantina.com. It's all the same place.
That's
it
what
goes to the
I
same
typed in
place.
Brooke Santina, I believe.
Yes.
No, I typed in
brooksantina.com.
your book title and I got to you.
And you will find me.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
great. So I'm glad you're up on the social media.
I'm
You have
working
Facebook
it.
as well.
I do. I'm on
Hard.
Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. Twitter.
And you've
Novel
got it
Cop
on
Twitter.
ebook too.
It's
right?
on.
Ebook. You can do it on iPad, on Nook, on Kindle.
Wow,
It's like $4.99, I think.
that's
on
great.
ebook.
That's great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you
Oh,
can get
I-
it print Amazon. You can get it at BarnesandNobles.com, or you can get it from me on my website.
A little plug for us, I might say. We have a website too, oldtalesofnevada.com, and there all the episodes, including yours, are going to be listed, and people can actually buy a DVD for $19.95
Wow.
plus shipping and handling.
Nice.
Yeah, we sold our
You
first
guys
one
sell
the other
those
day.
for more than I sell the book.
Well, I know, but we're so special.
That's right. You get 4 people. I only have one.
Yeah, we got to split it 4 ways, you know. So I don't know. We sold one so far.
Well, I might have to
doing
get
good.
on there and check it out.
That's right. Yeah, oldtalesofnevada.com.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Yeah. So anyway, we look forward to your successful career
Yeah, I
as
think you
an
will have
author.
one.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys
Yeah.
having me here.
Tell
Sure,
Tammy
we
Cummings
will.
to write
We
one
will.
too. She's probably got a
I
great
know.
story to
I
tell us
know.
a program. She and I she was the program director at Channel 8, now is the general sales manager there. So great team back there in the
Oh,
90s.
I bet.
Yeah, yeah.
She's a blast.
Yeah, and Mike Haley is a wonderful sheriff, isn't he?
He supported my book. He was very, very. I gave him an outline and he read it and had a couple questions, but he wrote me a blurb for the cover, so it's on the first
Oh,
page inside.
great.
And
That'll help, too.
really meant something to me. I really, really appreciated that.
Yeah, yeah. We want to encourage
Very nice of
all the women in town to, and our viewers to grab the book.
And the
Yeah.
guys too. It's
And
a
the guys, get the
motivational.
book.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun. I'm shocked. I had a couple cops read it, and the guys, they can be kind of critical.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
boy, one of them texted my husband, "I can't put this down." He didn't want me to know, but he texted my husband.
Yeah, it's fun when you can read something about your own profession
Yes.
and get some insights perhaps you never thought about, right?
And there are folks that believe I've had a couple reviews that people think that everything in there is real, and yet nothing in there is exactly real, but everything is realistic.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we have a lot of authors
In this area.
Northern Nevada.
We do.
We have a huge amount of talent,
do.
and it's all different subject matter, and
Oh,
yeah.
this is
True.
what brings it
Definitely
to the forefront,
Yeah.
because there's interest in all of these different things. Somebody else out there is doing the same thing, and they tune right in. And
It must be feel kind of special to think too that book, just like we look back at books 100 years old, 150 years old, that thing right there.
We'll still be around
We'll
after
be
I'm
around.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we want to thank you so much, Brooke, for being with us today and bringing
Oh,
the
thank
story
you.
to us. Great story about empowerment, no matter who you are, and you can meet your challenges and actually be successful. So, want to invite you back next week. We'll have another great episode coming up here on Old Tales of Nevada,
Yeah.
past and present.
We're
Want
gonna
to
have
thank
Marilyn
Neal,
Newton on-
Marilyn Newton,
Oh,
and then a
fantastic.
couple of weeks from there, we're going to be up at the Comstock again,
Right, at the hospital.
the hospital there. You, Roy, thanks so much for bringing the show.
Dress warmly.
Yes, dress
Town
warmly. We've
hospital.
got cold
Oh,
weather
is
here.
that cold in there?
Northern
Some parts
Nevada.
of it are pretty cold.
Thank the audience for being with us as well. This is John O'Brien saying goodbye for this week for Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, and we wish you a great Nevada day.
You've been watching Old Tales of Nevada with your host, Hugh Roy Marshall, historian and world-renowned gold and silver baron, presented by the Silverland Inn and Suites and the Marshalmen in Virginia City. Join us again next Thursday at 1 p.m. on the CW Reno for another edition of Old Tales of Nevada.